Alright guys, welcome back to Hyrule Warriors. Last time we met in Hyrule Warriors, we did the Skyloft mission with Sia's Tail, and now we're continuing on to the final mission in Sia's Tail, which is in the Valley of Seers, which takes place in between the events of the Temple of Souls mission and the Valley of Seers second time mission. So yeah, we are continuing on with that. I believe this is the end. So yeah, this is the end of Sia's Tail. Also, I forgot to take Sia's mask off for this mission, so that is my fault. But it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things.
Sia had few options remaining. Desperate to win at any cost, she tapped into her very life force to bolster her magic. Sia knew this would cost her her life, but victory was now worth any price.
Yeah, so this is like the follow-up of the whole Ganondorf wants the Triforce of Power, and he's going to do anything to take it from Sia, but Sia is doing everything in her power to make sure he doesn't get it. It's a whole thing. I mean, obviously we know the results of the whole thing, because we see, I just saw that pop in, by the way. Like, we all know the results of the whole thing. Ganondorf ends up taking the Triforce of Power eventually, and there you go. But just like the other Sia's Tales missions, this one isn't that bad. I mean, it's very story-driven, so there's going to be a lot of dialogue in between every major mission. Hell, there's going to be dialogue before the missions. But the first thing is that there is a pair of Gomas here, and yeah, Ganondorf still has enough power to summon a Goma, I guess, or something like that. So obviously we have to take those down before they start taking keeps. I think this mission, though, is basically a means to see what happened to Wizrow. Because technically, I mean, we could have implied, it could have been fine that Wizrow died after, like, Link killed Wizrow back in the Master Sword chapter. But for some reason, they decided to have Sia do it. Because, spoiler alert, Wizrow is gonna betray us again, and we have to defeat him. Meaning that okay, technically I guess Wizrow doesn't die, he just gets sealed back into his ring, but it might as well be death. And yeah, we got another manhandler. I am never getting over the name of that boss battle, by the way. There we go. Yeah, yeah, Wizrow gets pissed off because he hasn't healed from his last fight, which was against Link. But whatever. And yeah, he's noticing how Ganondorf commands loyalty with little to no effort. So obviously Wizrow's going to go for that kind of guy instead of Sia. Then again, I will admit, Sia has kind of gone butt-fuck bonkers ever since, you know, the whole, she took the Triforce of Power and stuff like that. Like, if you've noticed, her mannerisms just kind of went much crazier than usual. Especially, like, you notice that she got more aggressive as the game progressed, especially right after the Temple of Souls section. Yeah, Wizrow betrayed us, by the way, so thanks, asshole. Now, when I'm done manhandling Manhandla, I'm coming after you. But I will spoil that this is not going to be the last time we see Sia, because she does actually play a major part in the Wind Waker missions. So, yeah, she will be in that, and plus, because I guess she technically didn't die. I think Volga really is the only, like, Volga doesn't betray Sia at any point, if I'm thinking right. Like, he doesn't betray her, which is kind of funny to me. Then again, Volga I don't think really gives a shit about about everything. Like, Volga really only cares about, you know, just fighting the strongest enemies. And, you know, working with Sia helps him meet that goal eventually. So he doesn't really give a flying shit about, you know, who he's fighting for. He just cares about fighting the strongest people. Because that's, like, his huge thing. Oh, and now Sia summoned some Dark Links. I really got nothing to talk about. I mean, this is just Hyrule Warriors gameplay, as we've already talked about what Sia can do. Volga and Wizro have already been played as. I mean, there's not really much I can talk about. I mean, I already did my Tears of the Kingdom talk. I mean, I could talk about Jedi Survivor, but that's not out yet, and that doesn't come out until Friday. Actually, preloading for that actually starts tonight, which I am definitely going to be paying attention to, because the file size for for Jedi Survivor is fucking massive. Like, I did a little research on it, and it's like over 150 gigs on the PC, and I think it's around the same for PS5. Like, I think the smallest version of Jedi Survivor is going to be the Xbox Series S version, which is understandable, because the Series S is more designed for, like, smaller, like, is a smaller hard drive, I believe, and also just isn't meant to process games as well as the Series X can. But it's like, it's the margin of how different they are. Like, I believe the Xbox version's like 140 gigs, while the Series S is like 40 gigs. Like, that's a bit of a jump. I mean, okay. I mean, looking at the parts, I've already recorded the Linkle's Tale stuff. That's going to start coming out next week, because I'm not doing a part on Friday this week because of graduation is this week, and plus we're ending Sia's Tale now, so I'd rather just wait until next week to start the next campaign. But in terms of part numbers, I believe we should be done with this Let's Play by mid-May, I want to say. We already know who the Demon King is. So Ganondorf's out, and we gotta fight him. Actually, a little bit of an interesting thing happens here. We're gonna fight Ganon, but he's too strong. Like, he has like a barrier keep for his base. Okay, yeah, Volga technically doesn't betray Sia, but he also doesn't listen to her. I guess I could talk about my opinions of the Sia's Tale, because I haven't really done that. I mean, in terms of the story, it's fine. It's just, I really, most of Sia's Tale is about, like, you know, what happened in between battles that, you know, during the main story that, honestly, you could have just pieced together yourself. Like, you know, what was Sia, like, it's like, how did Sia come across Volga and Wizro? Well, you could either A, assume that she summoned them with her own power from a different timeline, or B, she found them somewhere, and I honestly went with B, because it just made more sense, because Volga technically never existed in a Zelda timeline. Because yeah, while Hyrule Warriors does go with have its own original characters like Lana and Sia, it does somewhat have like traits of the most of the traits from the Zelda timeline, and it doesn't really introduce new concepts into the timeline. Like Volga can be seen as like the human form of Volvagia from Hyrule Warriors, an Ocarina of Time, and I think it's more of a stretch than anything, to be honest with you. Okay, actually no, it's not a stretch, but like I wouldn't see the point in doing that, because I'm surprised they never did, because they never did do a human version of Volvagia until now. I would say that this is a Hyrule Warriors original character. It's Wizro, I mean, it's just a reference to the enemies from previous Zelda games called Wizrobes, or is it Wizros? Yeah, just Wizros. Because like, yeah, they had their own like, they were called Wizros, and they were really annoying in the first Zelda game. And they're in the Breath of the Wild / Age of Calamity, I guess. Oh yeah, by the way, now we gotta guide Lana to Ganondorf's Keep, because she's gonna get rid of the dark barrier that's over there. But back to what I was saying about Sia's Tail. In all honesty, I honestly don't care for it in terms of story, and in terms of gameplay, I mean, it's just your standard Hyrule Warrior stuff. I mean, a lot of the stuff that we've already seen in a previous mission, or in a previous cutscene, or it was at least heavily implied. So, Sia's Tail can be kind of seen as pointless. It's really the only way you're going to be playing as Sia in the main story, if that is really all you care about. Like, I'm not saying it's bad, it's just, it honestly doesn't matter. Then again, this is a Warriors game, so the story doesn't really freaking matter in the grand scheme of things anyway, because Warriors games just don't have a really, like, or just hack and slashes in general, just don't have, like, a very, you know, engaging story. I do want to talk about the fact that the Dark Power is restored, like, right after this battle for the Sanctum section in the next mission. So, yeah, Lana probably should have done something about that. Yeah, because right after this battle, Sia goes right back to hating Lana, because that's just how it is. Like, it really was just some pointless, you know, character moments that really don't matter anyway, because, oh yeah, I baited Ganondorf into that. Nice job. You are, but that's exactly what a loser would say. Ganondorf is that guy. You gonna pick up that material that's right in front of you? Well, actually, she's gonna be right back in like 5 minutes. But like the whole, you know, Sia's fighting to get whatever she wants thing, I mean, we already all know what she wants. It's Link. Like, we already know that she wants Link and all that kind of stuff. So it's really just stuff we already knew, and there was just no point in that. But it's whatever at this point. I mean, we finally finished up Sia's Tail. There's nothing left. I mean, yeah, this is the final part of Sia's Tail, so it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. I mean, it was just all, you know, you know, and also I guess it doesn't really help that we already did the main campaign while doing this. Like, if it was someone's first time playing through this, and like they haven't beaten, like they were doing the missions as they unlocked while they played the main campaign, this would be very interesting. But you know, as someone who played this game, who played Sia's Tale after the main campaign was already finished, because Sia's Tale came out after after the like as a DLC patch, then, you know, a lot of this kind of stuff becomes pretty predictable. And even then, and I mean, I know Definitive Edition unlocks them as you go along, but again, with Definitive Edition, I already knew where everything was going. The only reason I played the story mode on Definitive Edition anyway was because you kind of have to unlock certain characters. Like, in order to, you know, unlock almost every character, it's recommended that you just play through Legend mode first. Like, Legend mode should be the first thing you do in Hyrule Warriors, but it's whatever. So that's it for that's the end of the part, actually. So the next time we meet in Hyrule Warriors, we're going to be going on to the next DLC campaign, or, you know, just next side campaign with Linkle's Tale, yeah, so if you're probably wondering who the hell is Linkle, you'll find out when we get there. So see you guys next time, and take care.